My full-ride scholarship vanished overnight. While I was delivering food to survive college, my sister was sipping champagne in Paris, flaunting mom and dad's support. But when I traced back the lost email, forged documents, and stolen money trail, I realized the betrayal ran deeper than I thought. So during her live TV interview as a brilliant international student, I handed the world the truth. What followed, karma raw and televised. I used to think that hard work could fix everything, that if I just kept my head down, hit the books, did what was expected. Eventually, finally, my parents would look at me the way they looked at her. My sister Camille was the light of the family, the golden child. Everything she touched turned into a sparkling Instagram post, straight A's, glowing skin, 100K followers. And that effortless ability to make every dinner conversation about her latest brand deal or travel plan. And then there was me, Adam, the spare part in our family portrait. I didn't shine. I didn't pose well. I didn't charm anyone. I just studied. My dream was simple to get out of our suffocating household, out of the shadow of Camille, out of the toxic loop of silent disappointment that surrounded me every time I tried to speak up. So, I studied like my life depended on it, because in some ways it did. Senior year, I applied for the top international scholarship program. Full ride. Covered everything. Tuition, living, travel books. It was competitive as hell. But I had the grades, the volunteer hours, the recommendations, the essay that took me 3 sleepless weeks to write. And I got it, or I was supposed to get it. The email said I'd been selected pending confirmation within 14 days. I never saw that email. By the time I found out 6 months later, I was working night shifts at a delivery app, taking online classes at a community college, and trying to pretend like this wasn't the slow collapse of my entire future. And Camille, she was in Paris, posing in front of the Eiffel Tower, caption, "Chasing Dreams. Thanks Mom and Dad for believing in me." I stared at the photo until my hands trembled. I hadn't touched a croissant in a year. She was toasting champagne in Montmartre. The scholarship team told me I never confirmed my acceptance, that I ignored follow-up emails, that I withdrew, but I didn't. I never saw them. So I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I opened my mom's inbox. It was a habit she had from when I was in high school. She used to help manage my college applications. Said she didn't trust me to be organized. I hadn't changed the email settings since. And there it was, the original email. 6 months ago, forwarded to her, marked as handled. That was when the world tilted. I didn't want to believe it at first. I told myself, there had to be a mix-up, a misunderstanding. Maybe my mom just thought it was spam. Maybe the scholarship wasn't as secure as I thought. Maybe I'd imagined all of this because I was tired, broke, and bitter. But that was before I found the fake reply. It was buried in the sent folder, an email drafted from my original account, which she still had access to, replying to the scholarship board. It read, "Thank you for the opportunity. Unfortunately, I've decided to decline the offer and pursue different opportunities. Best of luck to the other candidates." Signed with my name. It wasn't my writing. I don't capitalize "best of luck." I don't use semicolons. And I sure as hell wouldn't have said no. The timestamp was 2 days before the deadline. Just enough time to cover their tracks. That night, I didn't sleep. My mind was spiraling. What kind of parent, what kind of mother would do this at 3 a.m.? I opened Camille's Paris vlogs, luxury apartment tour, designer outfits, dream life funded by love. She'd never won a scholarship, never even applied. She had failed 2 semesters and was always too emotionally drained to finish her essays. And yet, there she was, living my future. I scrolled through the comment section. You're such an inspiration. Goals I wish my parents supported me like yours do. And then it hit me. They did. They just chose her. I started digging. Over the next week, between deliveries and essays, I turned into a private investigator. Bank statements. There was a $45,000 transfer from the International Scholars Fund to my parents' joint account 1 week after that forged reply. They had liquidated the scholarship into a refund, then reinvested it into Camille's brand new Parisian lifestyle. They hadn't just stolen my opportunity, they cashed it in. I confronted my dad first, quietly, hoping I was wrong. I showed him the transfer. He didn't even flinch. He sighed and said, "Adam, you always had trouble seeing the bigger picture." The bigger picture. What bigger picture? You'll land on your feet, he added. You're practical. Camille's different, sensitive. She needs help more. That's when it clicked. It wasn't just favoritism. It was a sacrifice. I was the sacrifice. They had chosen the daughter with a camera over the son with a plan, because in their eyes, she was art, and I was just structure. They didn't want both of us to succeed. They wanted a star. That weekend, Camille posted another reel, her sitting by the Seine, holding a croissant laughing like the city had given her wings. Caption, no regrets. This is where I was meant to be. I stared at it for a long time. Then I saved it, and I opened a folder titled Evidence. There's something terrifying about watching your reality crumble in real time, especially when the people swinging the hammer are the ones who raised you. By now, my evidence folder was growing fat screenshots, PDFs, audio clips. I felt like a detective piecing together a puzzle that had been carefully hidden in plain sight. Only this wasn't a game. It was my life, my future, my stolen identity. First, I traced the scholarship transaction. I pulled public records grants were trackable. The payout was issued to A. Carter, my full name, but the linked account my parents. Then I dug through Camille's visa documents. She'd posted a throwback story from when she first arrived in France, a selfie with her acceptance letter. I zoomed in. It was addressed to Adam Carter. My name, my scholarship, her smile. The letter had been doctored, badly. Fonts didn't match. Signature block was photoshopped, and that was just the beginning. Next, I searched for her application essay. I found a file in our shared cloud folder. She never changed her password. The essay was titled, My Journey Through Academic Perseverance. I opened it. It was mine. Word for word. She hadn't just taken my scholarship. She'd taken me. I remember sitting on the floor of my room, heart-hammering, palms sweating. I wanted to scream, to smash something, to drive straight to Paris and look her in the eyes. Instead, I emailed myself every file. I backed them up in 3 different cloud drives, and then I waited. I needed more. Because what I had could destroy them, but I wasn't ready to set the fire. Not yet. One night, while delivering late, I stopped by my parents' house. They didn't know I was coming. Inside, I found Mom in the kitchen scrolling Camille's Instagram. She looked up and smiled like nothing had happened. like we were still a family, like she hadn't gutted my future and handed it to her daughter like a birthday gift. I asked her plainly, "Why did you take the scholarship?" She blinked, smiled, sipped her tea. Then she said, "You wouldn't have enjoyed Paris, sweetheart. You're not artistic." That word again. Not smart, not hardworking, not deserving, just not artistic. I realized then they didn't see me. Not really. To them, I was a fallback plan. The kid who'd survive regardless, who didn't need help because he wouldn't make noise. Camille. She cried louder, wore prettier clothes, looked better on camera, so she got the air. I left that night shaking. That was when I knew. This wasn't just about the money. It was about identity theft, emotional, academic, personal. They had robbed me of my name, my work, my story. But the final match, that came by accident. One of Camille's friends posted a BTS clip of her prepping for a live interview at a Parisian news outlet, a special on outstanding international students. Her voice echoed in the background. I got the International Scholars Award, and that changed everything for me. She said it so easily, so confidently, like the lie had become muscle memory. She was going on live TV in 4 days to tell the world my story, draped in Chanel and mascara and filtered lighting, and I had the truth. I looked at the flash drive in my hand. Maybe I was quiet, maybe I wasn't artistic, but I was still here, and I was done playing ghost. 4 days. That's how long I had to decide what kind of man I was going to be, the kind who lets betrayal sit and rot quietly in his chest, or the kind who pulls the knife out and throws it back publicly. I chose the second one. Camille's interview was set to air live on an international education network. It was a spotlight feature on top 10 foreign achievers in European universities. They'd built a campaign around her, the small-town girl who rose. She even posted a trailer for it on Instagram. Live Friday, 7 p.m. CET, my story, my gratitude, my Parisian dream. She used the hashtag #Her scholarship saved me. It made me sick. I didn't want to ruin her. That wasn't the plan at first. But after what they did, after pretending I didn't matter, like I was disposable, like I was background noise to their curated fantasy, no. They weren't just going to get away with it. I contacted the producers of the show anonymously. I told them I had urgent documentation about a guest, Camille Carter, regarding a possible identity fraud involving international scholarship funds. At first, they ignored me. PR reps are used to drama. But when I sent them a preview of what I had, they responded within 30 minutes. A Zoom call was scheduled. I kept the camera off. I didn't need them to know who I was yet. I told them I had legal evidence showing that Camille had used forged documents, plagiarized academic work, and received a full-ride scholarship under a false identity. I told them my name was Adam Carter, that the scholarship she claimed as hers had been awarded to me. Then I shared the files. The doctored acceptance letter with mismatched fonts. The original email from the university offering me the scholarship. The bank transfer logs showing the money went to our parents. Screenshots of her posting my essay as hers, and the video clip of her gushing about earning the award. Dead silence on the other end. Then the producer asked quietly, "Did you report this to the university I had weeks ago?" But the bureaucracy had stalled it until now. I told them I don't want money. I don't want legal revenge. I want the truth out. And they asked the most dangerous question in television. Would you be willing to tell your side? Live. I said yes. The day of the interview, I took the evening off work. My heart hadn't stopped thudding since morning. I sat alone in a friend's apartment laptop, open tuned into the stream like the rest of the world. There she was, Camille, radiant, perfectly made up in a cream blazer and soft waves. Her voice was smooth, confident, full of crafted sincerity. Growing up, I always felt different, she said. Like I had a voice the world hadn't heard yet. The scholarship gave me a chance to finally express it. My fists clenched. I could barely breathe. Then the host smiled and said, "We have a surprise for you, Camille. One of our viewers sent in a special message after seeing your trailer." Her smile faltered. "Joining us live from the U.S. is Adam Carter." The screen split. My face filled the other half of the stream. She froze. Dead air. The host blinked. I looked directly at the camera and said, "Hi, Camille. Remember me? I'm the person you had to erase to become who you are now." You could feel the room suck in air. I continued, "Everything you just said. That was my story, word for word. You didn't earn that scholarship. You stole it from me. You used my essay, my identity, even my acceptance letter. The funds were redirected to our parents' account. I have the receipts." Camille's face went pale. She started to stutter. This isn't the time," the host interjected. "Camille, is this true?" She looked off camera. Her mic picked up a whisper. "Cut the feed." But it was live. There was no cut. I wasn't done. "You didn't just cheat the system. You cheated me. I worked 2 jobs, scraped for tuition, gave up my spot because our parents told me I missed the deadline. They deleted the email. They forwarded it to Mom's inbox and pretended nothing ever came. While I was biking through snow, delivering pizzas, you were drinking champagne in Paris." Camille burst into tears. I almost felt bad. But then I remembered waking up at 4 a.m. after working till midnight. Remembered going to bed hungry because rent came first. Remembered staring at her luxury trips online, thinking I was just unlucky. It wasn't luck. It was theft. The host's voice was tight. "Camille, we'll have to pause and investigate these claims." But I had one last thing to say. You all wanted a story of triumph, of rising from nothing. Well, here's the truth sometimes. That story belongs to someone who was never given the mic. And I signed off. The fallout was swift. The video went viral in under 12 hours. News outlets picked it up. Scholarship scandal. American student exposes sister's academic theft live on air. Stolen identity in Paris. When family becomes your biggest betrayer. Camille's social media imploded. Sponsorships dropped her within 48 hours. Her university launched a full investigation and suspended her pending review. My inbox was flooded. People thanked me for speaking out, for showing that sometimes victims don't stay silent. As for my parents, they called once, left a voicemail. My mother was crying. "You didn't have to go that far, Adam. You embarrassed us. Your father could lose his job." I didn't call back. 1 week later, I received an email. It was from the scholarship board. They were reopening my file, offering full reinstatement for the next academic year. Tuition, housing, everything. I cried. For real this time. Not because of the win, but because for once I was seen, heard, named. I wasn't just the quiet kid who wasn't artistic. I was the one they tried to erase, and I came back louder than ever. It's been almost a year since the broadcast. Camille eventually returned to the U.S. quietly. Her university expelled her. And although no criminal charges were filed, her public image was beyond repair. She deleted all her social media. I heard she's working at a boutique now. No interviews, no explanations. My parents, we haven't spoken since. They tried, sent emails, apologies shaped like excuses. We didn't mean for it to go so far. You seemed like you'd be okay. And worst of all, you're stronger than your sister. They called that love. I called it strategy. It hurt, but I didn't respond. Because healing doesn't mean returning to the source of the wound. Instead, I made a new plan. With my scholarship reinstated, I enrolled in a dual degree program, public policy and journalism. I want to investigate stories like mine, the ones people are told to just get over, the ones buried behind family dinners and Christmas photos. I want to become the person I needed when I was sitting alone on the floor of my apartment, watching someone else live my life. I got a part-time job at the university radio station. The first piece I produced was called The Cost of Silence. It was about how families can sometimes be the first place betrayal begins, and the last place justice is ever found. It went viral. And for the first time, not because I was exposing someone, but because I was creating something. That's when I understood. Revenge is satisfying, but it's not healing. Healing is what comes after, when you build something out of the ashes they left behind. I still think about Camille, about whether she regrets it, whether she ever sees me as more than the obstacle she had to climb over. But I don't wait for that answer anymore, because I've learned that truth doesn't need permission to exist. It just needs courage. So, if you're listening to this story, and you've ever felt erased, overlooked, sacrificed for someone else's fantasy, I want you to hear this. You are not invisible. You are not disposable. And you are not too late. Sometimes justice doesn't come with sirens. Sometimes it comes with a microphone, a camera, and one single decision to say, this is what they did to me. And if that's where you are now, on the edge, wondering if you should speak, wondering if anyone will believe you, let this story be your answer. If you found something real in this story, don't forget to support our channel, Hidden Family Chronicle, where we uncover the untold, the buried, the betrayed. Like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Share your thoughts in the comments below, because your voice matters, your truth belongs, and your story deserves to be heard.